What's up everyone? I had a few requests to do a grocery shopping episode. So here we are, we're at a random grocery store around, and I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks on a lot of things of what I eat and good way to kind of form your diet and your nutrition plan. A good tip that I like to use, first of all, is mainly shopping on the outside of the grocery store. And the reason why that is because the inside is down the aisles is where most of the processed food is, really what you want to stay away from. The foods that you want to base your diet on are mainly the foods that are whole foods, fruits, vegetables, meats, and things like that. And to keep it as simple as you can, I like to divide my food groups into 3 different parts in what normally you wouldn't hear. Mainly is my meat, which is my protein. Okay, and then my carbohydrates, which I like to get most of my carbs from my sweet potatoes, red potatoes, or brown rice, or even fruit. And then my vegetables. Vegetables are carbs, but I try not to really count my vegetables as carbohydrates, just because they're such low calorie that your body actually burns almost the same amount of calories to eat them than it actually has in them. So through all my meals, I like to have that base of my meats and my vegetables. Okay, and then I alter my carbohydrates depending on what time of day it is, what my specific goals are, if I'm trying to bulk up, gain a little bit of muscle, or if I'm trying to cut down. So first, to make it as simple as can be, I'm going to start with the vegetables. Alright, so I'll just start over here. I really like to use peppers, bell peppers, sweet peppers, to really help flavoring, and also they're a great source of a lot of vitamins and minerals. Pretty much anything in here is great for your metabolism. It makes your food taste great. You can eat it raw, or you can saute it. So I like to eat a lot of these. My favorites are the bright colored ones, like the yellow and the orange, just because they're really sweet and they really add a lot of flavor to pretty much anything I'll put them in. Also, one of the best foods you can possibly get, it doesn't matter what your goals are, again, if you're trying to lose weight or even gain muscle, is broccoli. I like to have broccoli with as many meals as I possibly can. If I'm trying to gain muscle, broccoli is a great thing to add in because it's not only a good source of that vitamin and minerals, but when you intake a lot of broccoli, it actually makes your body be able to process a little bit more protein than usual, which will help your body gaining in that muscle. Also, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're with that meat, just adding in broccoli. Broccoli's a great source because it gives you a little bit of energy, not much, but it's a good filler, again, with a lot of vitamins and minerals. So we get a lot of this. One of my favorite things to add into almost any meal I make is onions. Pretty much no calories in it, and it does amazing things for flavor. If you're really getting bored of the food that you're cooking, it's so easy to just, while you're grilling your chicken or your beef or anything, to chop up some onions and throw some onions in there. It does great things for flavor. Pretty much no calories at all. Highly recommend. Almost all vegetables are really good for your vitamins and minerals, so I don't need to keep saying, asparagus, again, great for your vitamins and minerals, but it's also good for flavoring, and it's another great vegetable I like to add into my diet also. So I'll grab a few of these. A few of the main vegetables that I like to go by and that I like to add into my diet, but if you prefer different vegetables, that's fine. I don't really not recommend a specific vegetable besides corn. A lot of people think corn is healthy because it's a vegetable, but I advise no matter what your goal, stay away from corn. Your body really cannot process it that well. So if you're into some other type of vegetable, good, that's great. You're welcome to add that in too. But now we're going to go into the carbohydrates. And I know vegetables are considered carbs and sweet potatoes are considered vegetables, but again, I'm just trying to make it as simple as I possibly can. So I'm going into my energy source, not my vegetables because there's not much energy in there. It's just good for fillings, and it's very good for your health with all the vitamins and minerals in there. But when I get into my energy source, sweet potatoes are my first go-to choice. And the reason why that is not only are they just filled with a lot of vitamins and minerals, but it's one of the best sources of energy that you can get because your body can process it almost better than any other source of energy or carbohydrates that you can possibly take. Our bodies are designed to process things like sweet potatoes and even red potatoes. And it's great for your pre-workout, great for your post-workout. I even eat them for breakfast sometimes. So sweet potatoes, my main source of carbohydrates. And every body is different. Me specifically, when I'm trying to lean up, I tend to do a lot better with sweet potatoes, and when I'm trying to gain muscle, I tend to do a lot of more rice. You know, but again, that's just me specifically. A lot of people are like that, but a lot of people aren't. And as well as with my sweet potatoes, I'll add in my red potatoes too. Trying to stay away from the regular, just Idaho white potatoes, but you know, the red potatoes are a lot more fast acting also, so it's great for your post workout, right after you work out, and if you do a lot of hard training, red potatoes are another good way to go. Alright, next thing is fruit. Fruits tend to have a bit of a bad rep, and that's mainly because it's a lot of sugar. But it's actually the good natural sugar that our bodies are designed to process. Now, that being said, I wouldn't go crazy on fruits. I wouldn't eat them all day and eat a bunch of them, but you know, it's a great carbohydrate energy source to have in the morning and post-workout, so right after a workout. Bananas are great choices. Again, they're good, but you got to keep them to a limit, okay? So I eat a lot of bananas, great for breakfast, great for right after a workout, when your body really needs and craves that quick sugar. One good tip I advise is never come to the grocery store hungry. Because when you're going to the grocery store hungry, that's one where you're going to pick up bad food, where you're going to start getting quick food just to eat while you're here. Never go to the grocery store hungry. That being said, we're at the most tempting place in the whole grocery store. That's when it comes to the cake, the pastries, all the good, fun, yummy stuff. Another thing I advise is never take this stuff home, okay? Now, it's okay to eat bad food sometimes, you know, to have those cheat meals that are highly recommended anyway, but what I recommend is don't bring it home, okay? Because it's one thing, if you have it at your house, you know, and you're craving some bad food, it's so easy just to walk in the closet or walk in the fridge and grab a piece of cake, and there goes all your goals right there. So if you keep it out of your house, then you're going to tend to make a little bit better of an option, and then, you know, that once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever fits your goals, you know, it's good to go out and then have your bad food there, but never bring it home. Now we're at our proteins. Proteins, great sources: fish, chicken, lean ground turkey, lean ground beef, eggs. So we're going to start with fish. Salmon is great to have for dinner time. Tilapia is very cheap. You can pretty much have that all day. So I'm definitely going to base a good part of my protein on fish. So let's grab some of this. This whole thing is $6.50, so it's very cheap, good for you. Tilapia is a great choice, especially if you're on a budget. Okay. Now salmon tends to be a little bit more expensive, but it's great for you. It has tons of vitamins and minerals, has a lot of that essential fatty acids. Great for dinner time. Okay, so I'll grab a little bit of this. Then head on and get some chicken. Next thing is what pretty much anyone that has any sort of fitness goal bases everything on, and that's chicken. And so I like to just get the regular chicken. A lot of this. Come on over here. Get some more options for meat. All right, we got some ground turkey. Again, ground turkey is very cheap. It's good for you. It's pretty lean. And there's actually different options when it comes to ground chicken, or I'm sorry, ground turkey. You know, you have the 91%, you have the 85%. I recommend just trying to get the leanest. That you can possibly find. Next thing, ground beef. Now, again, beef is another thing that kind of tends to get a little bit of a bad rep, but you know, just making sure you're having it to a limit. You know, not having it all day, every day, maybe 3 times a week or so, and it's always better to have it at nighttime, okay? Because it tends to be a little bit more fattier, and fats are a lot better to have at nighttime since that's slow digested, so your body will process that protein later through the night. And again, try to get the leanest that you can find. Here's 96% for. Try to stay away from the stuff that's like 70-30, 60-40, because it's just loaded with tons of fat. But if you go into this, it's 96.4. It's not too bad. Okay, it has 24 grams of protein and only 4 grams of fat. I mean, that's pretty close to chicken. Okay, but again, it's good for dinner time, maybe 3 times a week. Try not to have it every night. You know, switch between this and salmon. Great options. So this is where you want to go into the aisles, you know, to get a few small things like brown rice, great source of carbohydrates. Oatmeal, great thing for breakfast, good source of carbohydrates. And when it comes to seasoning and flavoring, You know, 'cause it's pretty hard to have just plain Jane chicken, plain Jane ground turkey and everything. So you want to flavor your stuff so you don't get bored, so you can keep eating healthy and keep getting close to your goals without getting bored and just sick of it. So come on, and we're going to find some oats, some brown rice, and then some flavoring. Our next thing is rice. I like to stick with brown rice. Every once in a while I'll do a little bit of Yasmin rice, but again, I like to keep it cheap, simple, very quick and easy to make. So what I recommend, big family size of success. This here, boil in the bag. It doesn't make a mess. It's easy. It's just in a bag. You boil it for about 10 to 15 minutes and it's good and ready to go. But what I like to do is boil 3 or 4 of these at a time. Just keep them in my fridge so I can just heat them up real quick and they're good to go. So definitely get some success, boil in a bag. Now there's a bunch of different types of oatmeals. You know, the 2 main things are the quick oatmeal, and then you have just, you know, the old-fashioned oats. I recommend the old-fashioned. It's just because, you know, your body's going to process a little bit better. Pretty much a good rule of thumb is, you know, the less actions that men do to the food, you know, that man and everyone who makes the food, you know, the less they have to do to it, the better that your body's going to process it. So I like to just go for the old-fashioned oats. Still going for the cheaper version. It's the same thing. There's no point in, you know, paying for, you know, a name brand. Now, when I always hear people complaining about how do you always eat the same things over and over and over, and you know, the key is changing up your spices, changing up your seasonings, changing up your sauces. When it comes to seasoning, I'm sure you've heard, maybe not, but Miss Dash is absolutely Dash. It's no sugar, no salt. Great. So, and there's a million different options that you can go. That's kind of just what you're going to do by your taste. But this is a good way to keep it interesting in the kitchen. So keep switching up the seasonings, and that's going to keep you from getting bored also. So I'm going to grab a few of these. Comes the sauce, and me personally, I'm always looking for different kinds of sauces that are low calorie, low in sugar, low in fat, that I could use to flavor up my food a little bit. One that every store has is hot sauce. Hot sauce is great for any type of diet. It's no calories. It's a little bit high in sodium, but there's no calories in it, and it helps your body raise its metabolism. So I'll grab a few of these. Then when it comes to salad dressings, you know, I put this on my chicken also. So the dressings are good, again, for flavoring. It'll never get boring as long as you're switching up your dressings. So the key is just kind of finding what you like and looking on the back for as little calories as possible when it comes to sugar-free, fat-free, because there's a lot of good options out here. What I realized is this one here, Maple Grove Farms. So try to keep the calories low, and this is also a good one that I like to use too, again by Maple Grove Farms. A little citrus vinaigrette. It has a little bit, has 6 grams of carbs, 5 sugars, and 6 grams of fat. So it's definitely a little bit higher on the calories, but you don't go crazy on it, you know. So that's 2 tablespoons, you know. So if you put 2 tablespoons on it, that's not a lot, but just make sure you're not drenching your food with it. So it's all about in moderation with all these things. So I'm gonna grab a few of these. Last but certainly not least is water. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, trying to lose weight or gain muscle, water should be a huge part. It should be pretty much mainly the only thing that you do drink, to be honest with you. And you want to drink at least a gallon a day. You're not going to lose fat unless you're drinking a lot of water. And you're not going to gain muscle either unless you're down on a lot of water. Alright, so I pretty much got what's mainly in my diet and what I recommend for, you know, even if you're trying to gain or lose weight. As far as timing out your carbohydrates, if you're trying to lose weight, I recommend having most of your carbohydrates in the morning when you wake up, before your workout and after your workout. And if you're trying to gain muscle, gain a little bit of weight, have those carbs evenly distributed throughout the day. But you want to stick with good carbs even if you're trying to gain weight, and the reason being because you want to gain muscle, you don't want to gain fat. Okay, so if you're eating flour and sugar and pretty much crappy sources of carbohydrates, that's not going to help you gain muscle in any way. So I hope I didn't forget anything important, but I hope this really helped out all you guys that are really confused about what to eat and what you should eat, and what you should not eat also. But you know, if you stick to pretty much everything that I put in my cart today, you'll be good to go.